On this episode of Delivering Marketing Joy, I talk with Brandon Mackay from Snugz about what it's like to pivot during a pandemic. Hey there, and welcome to a brand new edition of Delivering Marketing Joy. I'm your host, Kirby Hasseman, and joining me today is a repeat guest, a good friend of mine. He's the CEO of Snugz, and I really appreciate you taking the time. Brandon Mackay, thank you so much, man. I appreciate it.
I'm super excited to be here. So thanks for, like I said before, thanks for breaking up some of the monotony.
Absolutely. It's good to have a conversation. I've been joking. I'm like, this has been hard on us extroverts. I want to talk to people. So you've been in the industry for many years now, and I know sort of your journey is that you've kind of come in and risen to the ranks of CEO. So can you talk about what's taken place over the last, say, 6 weeks with this pandemic, kind of 30,000 feet? What have you seen?
Man, from after Expo, first part of February, you kind of heard of slight rumblings. Mm-hmm. More was based on supply chain. What's up with supply chain? What are we going to do? Things are looking late. They have a little bit of a virus in China. And you're like,
right.
Oh, well, I guess I'll deal with supply chain. Things will be a little late.
Right.
So that was kind of the first anxiety attack. Is saying, how are we going to deal with this?
Right. Then
it kind of morphed into something a little more serious, like saying, oh, wow, can you believe they canceled South by Southwest? Wow, that's intense. Can you believe that they canceled XYZ? And then it got like real serious. It's like, holy crap. Yeah. They just canceled the NBA with fans in the stands.
That was to me, that was the moment.
Yeah, that was like, now it's real.
Yeah.
And the downside to that is, of course, it was the Utah Jazz that caused that, right?
That's right. I forgot about that. It seems so long ago.
So, they canceled the NBA season. And I think for me, that's initially when I was like, holy cow, this is for real.
Yeah.
The other stuff is just kind of like make-believe stuff. And now it's for real. And so what have the last 8 weeks look like, or the last 10 weeks look like? And I think it went from a mild concern to angst to multiple ranges of severe anxiety, from are we going to survive? Is the industry going to survive? Are my people going to survive? Or how are we going to do this? To where we had a very popular product, on the other hand, that was just drowning us with being in the sanitizer market and not just selling the product, but, we actually make it in-house and just trying to secure raw ingredients and bottles and caps and pumps. And it was absolute mayhem there for the first, little while. Actually, all of March was just a blur, to be totally honest with you.
Yeah. So I'm curious, sort of your take on this. I've been really impressed with our industry, and our change to fulfill the new needs. Can you talk a little bit about that from Snugz' perspective, about what you've done to change and meet the demand?
Well, some of it is obviously we had to figure out a way to scale at a much greater scale on the sanitizer side, saying, how do I sell a year's worth of production in 6 weeks?
Yeah.
So those are like going from not just sipping out of a drinking fountain. That was like full-fledged trying to figure out a way to drink from a fire hose in a matter of days, not weeks. Mm-hmm. So kind of when we passed that and got over that, it was like, well, how do we transition all this workforce to where they are beneficial to us? Some of them have skill sets and specialties in areas that we don't need them in. Mm-hmm. So we had to figure out not only how do we make it, how do we cross-train and improve that? And then you have all the COVID issues. You have, how do I test 500 plus employees? How do I make sure the work environment's safe? How do I help contribute to make sure that all the mandates are checked off? The distance mandates, the temperature checks, all of this. It's just, so you're trying to do work, plus you're trying to be in compliance that's incredibly high and incredibly difficult. In that same mix, we had an earthquake. We have, we've had cases of, we've had a positive case. How do you deal with the employees after that? It's just, one thing after another. It was just like, my shock factor at this point is so high that if you said, guess what X, Y, or Z did, I'd be like, yeah, well.
What are you going to do?
Seems logical. Why wouldn't it? And so I think that's a big portion of right now of how resilient I think this industry is it's gone from scared to, all right, tell me what your problem is and let's find a solution. I don't care what the problem is. We're going to find a solution. Don't tap dance around it. Just tell me what the grisly details are and let's fix it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting. I mean, we have done some, we've been selling some masks as we were talking about before we started recording. And I'm just fascinated about the number of products that are being sold within our industry where the supply chain just didn't exist 6-8 weeks ago. It just didn't exist.
Nothing.
Yeah.
So we're making masks right now. We got approached by a local hospital, actually two hospitals, Intermountain Healthcare and University of Utah Healthcare. Mm-hmm. And they said, hey, you know what? We can't get the masks that we need out of Asia. For our clinical workers, doctors, nurses, frontline employees, we have to change our masks every single time that we come into contact with a new human being. We need 5 million masks. So we, in a matter of 2 weeks, we went from don't know how to make masks to how do we make a disposable, single-use polypropylene mask with ties and elastics. And as of this morning, and this will be dated, so by the time maybe this interview gets out, but as of this morning, we shipped our 3 millionth mask.
Wow.
In 3 weeks.
That's incredible.
And we have 2 weeks to go, so the overall PO is for 5 million masks, and I think it will exceed that. So that 5 million masks gets them really 60 days of frontline worker protection.
Wow. Good for you, man. That's amazing. So I'm curious to know, sort of looking into the crystal ball, your take on this. What do you think the future holds for the industry? Do you think we stay in the PPE business? Does it go back to normal? Is it somewhere in between? What do you think?
I think it's going to be somewhere in between, right? So I think there are manufacturers and there are people that understand PPE, right? Mm-hmm. So yeah, Fastenal and Cintas and Aramark and some of these people that are in the traditional PPE arena, and they buy from 3M or Scotchgard or whoever, they get their PPE from. That supply chain, I think, will probably catch up at some point, right?
Right.
They'll be able to get their head above water. But I do believe that the footprint of promo is here to stay.
Yeah.
Because I think doctors and nurses and clinical offices and dentists and whatnot want to have traditional PPE. They want gloves, masks, face shields, hairnets, etc. But then there's the whole other spectrum, there's the MBA, there's colleges, there's universities, there's bookstores, there's Home Depot, there's yada, 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 that want to be able to have their own PPE program, and they want to be able to see their logo on their products. And I think some of that is going to be here to stay. And I think this industry is incredibly resilient and incredibly resourceful.
Yeah.
I mean, they can go from concept to finished goods in a matter of
it's amazing.
Weeks now, where it took months and months of having these really intensive product design teams put together. So I think PPE is going to be part of the promotional products henceforth, but I think it's going to evolve. I think we're going to get more data points of what works and what doesn't work and what we need to have versus what we have. And right now we have a little bit of everything, right?
For sure. Well, I appreciate it, man. You've taken the time. I know in your busy schedule, you've answered my 3 questions. I give everybody a chance to ask me one question. Do you have one for me?
Yep. So mine's going to be maybe a 2-part question, which I think will be fun. So according to Kirby for 2020, and you can rank them in order or not in order, what are the top 3 products of 2020? And what are going to be the top 3 products of 2021?
Wow. Okay. All right. So I think
2020 soft toss.
Yeah. Right. Because I figured it's hand sanitizers and masks are 1 and 2. And then I'm going to go just for just something different, is I think that as we get back, I think that t-shirts are actually going to be in play as a number 3. I think that's generally one of the top ones, right? As a category and as a product, I think it's going to fall to number 3. So, but I think sanitizers, we're again selling them as fast as we can make them as an industry right now. And we were making sanitizer before, and I felt like we sold out as an industry in about 2 weeks. Like I couldn't get over it. I mean, to the point where my clients were calling me and saying, "Hey, can you get hand sanitizer?" And I was like, "No. let's just deal with that now." Okay. So I said sanitizer, masks, and t-shirts. I think 2021, I actually think it's going to get back to some semblance of normal. I think we get back to apparel being number one, drinkware being number two, because I think at that point, now all of a sudden we start saying to clients, okay, how do I show my appreciation for clients? How do I show my appreciation for my team again, because they're working and all that sort of thing? And then I go PPE, let's put that as a bundle for number three, right? So if you put sanitizer, masks, all that sort of thing, I think that all falls as the number three. And considering it's off the cuff, I feel pretty good about that prediction.
That's good. I think that's really good. Nice work, man.
Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it. Well, dude, thank you so much. And I know that you've got a ton to sort of juggle, and you've got a ton on your mind. And I know, yeah, this might be a welcome distraction, but the reality of it is you had to make time for it. And I really do appreciate that. I hope you guys stay safe. Okay.
Absolutely. You stay safe. All the promo people out there, stay safe.
Yeah.
Be resilient. Be strong. Be courageous. And I know that like we did last time, right? A few of us have been around this merry-go-round a couple times, and we will be bigger, faster, stronger. So hang in there.
Yeah. Thanks, man. Well, that's going to wrap up this edition of Delivering Marketing Joy. We'll see you next time.